Hi, welcome to the Kiwi Rocket. Today we have Corina Shields, who's from Mana Wāhine Kōrero. She's here today to discuss Rex Landy and the legal problems that she is having. Hi, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you, Joe. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Yeah. I'm so sorry about what's happening with Rex Landy. Would you like to explain to everybody why she's in legal trouble and why she cannot be on the show to talk about it?
Sure. So about a year ago, Caitlin Spice, who we know as Dan Johnston, put in complaints about Rex, HDCA complaints. And for some reason, they got escalated. And Rex was asked to take down some of the content that she had been out in her Substacks. And at this time, she had a lot of personal things going on as well. And she removed most of what was put on. But what she forgot to remove, or what she didn't see, was two things. Two tiny little things out of, I think it was around 80 things that she had deleted. And so she was willing to comply, and she did. But because life and personal things going on, she missed those two things. And so Dan has complained to police that she has breached this order, and that original complaint went through 5 sergeants. This was a few days before Christmas that Rex got arrested, and the original complaint went through 5 sergeants before she was arrested. And so we're at the situation now where she's been going to court cases and taking it through court, and there is a judge trial coming up in December, which is the combination of everything that's been going on for the last year. But what people need to realise is that Caitlin Spice, or Dan Johnston, actually had to subscribe to Rex's Substack to even be able to read what Rex was writing. As of last week, Dan Johnston was still following Rex Landy's Facebook account. Now, to me, this sounds like self-harm, because if you are saying that somebody is harming you, why do you keep putting yourself in that position? That, for me, just blows my mind that this man, because that's what he is, biologically he is a male, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it for people, he is a male. Why is his feelings more important than the safety of women and children in this country? Why is it a man can complain for things that he is choosing to read, and a woman faces jail and fines because of it? It's been really hard to watch, because I can see how it's affecting Rex, and it would affect any woman. New Zealand has this thing where we are so unaware of what's happening in this country. We think that all the crazy things that we're hearing about happening overseas are the only places that it's happening. It's happening right here in New Zealand. Rex isn't the only one going through this. Family First have done a story that's just come out about detransitioners. And so when we're talking about gender ideology and we're talking about teens who have been mutilated, what we're also going on about is the safety of these children. Where is the safety for children? Where is the safety for women? It's in our education systems, and Rex is staunch about speaking out about that. Not everybody knows, but Rex is a trans widow. So she has lived this life. She knows what the trans ideology is all about. She knows how dangerous it is, and that's why she is what we call an ultra. That's why she is so hardline about gender ideology, because she knows from personal experience how bad it gets and how dangerous it is for women and for children, because it's something that has affected her life. And the fact that she's facing jail time because of it is absolutely ridiculous. I talk to Rex quite often, and so for me, I am well aware that we are in a situation where we are hoping for the best, but we are preparing for the worst. And so if there are people out there who are available on the 16th of December, please come to the Wellington District Courthouse. I will be there. Mana Wāhine Kōrero will be there. We are trying to get as many people to the courthouse to support Rex in this, because this shouldn't even be a case that is even happening. It should not have gotten this far, that a man's feelings are hurt over 2 posts that were accidentally removed at a time of personal dramas. Like, it's just insane to me. Dan Johnston is well known as a bully. Rex isn't the only person that has had to deal with Dan and his antics. Dan, no doubt, is going to get upset that I'm even doing this interview with you. He's going to get upset that I'm calling him Dan and that I'm saying he's a male. I'm not the one under an HDCA order. So I can say these things. I can say the things that currently Rex isn't allowed to say, but they are biologically true. Dan Johnston is a man who pretends to be a woman. He has hurt feelings for his own actions. And at some point, the justice system needs to start telling these vexatious litigants, because that's what they are. People like Dan Johnston are vexatious litigants. They take people to court in effort to shut them down. Paul Thistle is a prime example of a vexatious litigant. He does the same thing as Dan Johnston. They bully others and they try and shut them down because they think that their way is the right way, it is the only way. And it's not. At some point, we need to sit down, have real conversations about biological truth, the safety of women, the safety of children. We need to keep men out of women's spaces, out of women's prisons, out of women's sports, out of refuges. This is the fight that Rex has taken on. And I'm hoping, like hell, that men and women stand up and support her in this court case. Show the justice system that we are not going to stand by and watch as they, what I would say, breach human rights. Because sex is a protected characteristic. Race is a protected characteristic. Yet a Māori woman faces jail because the feelings of a white man. Why? If Māori is if race is a protected thing under human rights laws, why is a Māori woman facing court? If sex is a protected thing under human rights, why is a woman in court for a man's feelings? Why are men not going to jail for the assaults, the sexual assaults against women and children? Why are so many of them walking free? It's not right. And the justice system needs a complete overhaul to stop this from happening. I know that Free Speech Union have been in touch with Rex and they are looking to help. And so that will be really good, because we need the Free Speech Union in there helping as well. But yeah, it's just trying to keep Rex level, because she's overwhelmed by all the attention. She didn't think that it would get this much attention, but I think that this case deserves the attention that it's getting. I think the international attention that it's gotten so far is helping to get the national attention that we need, and that's what we need. We need people in New Zealand to realise what is going on, that a woman faces jail for articles that she's writing that a man is choosing to read, and she faces jail for that. Like, if somebody can make that make sense to me, I would love them to. But I don't see how a woman should face jail just for writing articles that people are choosing to read. Nobody forces people to read Rex's stuff. Rex doesn't write for other people. Rex writes for herself. She writes to get these things out of her so that she doesn't blow up. No, she should be allowed to express herself in a way that she wants to without having to face jail because of choices other people are making. And I hope that that's something that comes up in the court case, that people, that her lawyers and that Free Speech Union lawyers actually say, well, why is a woman going to or facing jail for writing? Because that's all she's done. She hasn't communicated with Dan Johnston. They don't message each other. She doesn't go out of her way to try and attack him. He goes looking for her stuff. And he's gone looking for her stuff. This has gone on for the last couple of years. There are many women out there. I've heard stories about what Dan has done, that he has intimidated women in public. No, why is that not being put before the courts? Why are the cops not pulling him up on that? Because that's not something that should go through 5 sergeants either. That's something that if a man's harassing a woman in public, 1 complaint, 1 sergeant should be enough to make a decision about arresting him. Has that ever happened? Has Dan ever faced an arrest for the things that he has done to people?
I just want to know, were any of those posts about Dan? I mean, Caitlin and slash Dan
Um,
directly?
from I haven't read them all,
Okay.
and so from what Rex has been telling me, it wasn't actually about attacking him, but it was about talking about the things that he does and the things that he's into. It wasn't about attacking him so much, but just plain talking about Dan Johnston as man. Da 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 da. This is what he's done. These are the things that, and that's it basically. And he's gone to courts for HDCA stuff. To me, the HDCA laws are ridiculous that it's even gotten this far. Because I've had experience with people harassing me online. And NetSafe will give you a summary if they can't get the stuff taken down and what have you. And they'll give you a court order if things don't get taken down. But I've found in my own situation, it's been such a long process to get anywhere that I didn't see HDCA laws being any good for me. So I didn't end up pursuing them. But what I did pursue was the stalking and harassment laws, because what I could see was the stuff that was happening online is stalking and harassment. And when I was reading about the bill, there was nothing about online acts. And so I did a submission on the stalking and harassment bill, and Rex was with me when I did that. I flew down to Wellington, I sat in Parliament, and I did my submission on stalking and harassment. And part of that was around doxing, people releasing information. Dan wants to cry about things that Rex has written on her own Substack that he has subscribed to. But on the flip side of that, Rex, Landy, and her sister, Di, they have been targeted by vandals.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, like turfs aren't wanted here and things. There's photos on Di's X account of the tagging on the fences. And so at what point does the justice system and the police step in to protect these women? They are older women. They are older than I am. Di is around the same age as my mother. So I look at her like a mother figure. These women are mother figures to me because they're in that same age bracket as my own mother. And I would lay down for them. I would throw hands for these women because of the things that I see them go through. Now, I know that I'm getting emotional right now, but that's how much it matters to me, that these women are protected. These sisters don't just run their mouths online. They are doing submissions in Parliament. They are talking about the safety of women. They've done the submission on the births, deaths, and marriages, and the self-ID and the harms around that. Like, they are heavily involved in wanting to protect children, women, and Te Ao Māori, because that's a big part of it too, is that Te Ao Māori is being used to push gender ideology. We're being told now that transgender ideology is Māori culture. It's not Māori culture. If gender ideology was Māori culture, then where are the carvings that show girls with their breasts cut off? Where are the carvings that show boys with their penises cut off? If transgender ideology was part of Māori culture, these things would exist, and they don't. And Rex and her sisters are quite staunch in saying that this is not our culture. This is not safe for women. This is not safe for children. And while people may get their backs up with how they may deliver that message sometimes, cut through that and take on the content of what they are saying. Take on the things that they are saying, because what they are saying is affecting us here and now. You see that in what Bob McCroskey has put out with the detransitioners. This is very real stuff that is happening. And part of it is around, I believe, population control. It's about controlling the population. We saw it with COVID, and we're seeing it with gender ideology. This is just the next step in being able to control the population. And people are going to say, she's a conspiracy theorist because of this, but prove me wrong. There is money to be made in poverty. Sick people make rich people richer because there is a shitload of money in the medical world. There's money to be made by medicalizing children. There's money to be made by getting people under the knife and keeping people on drugs for the rest of their life. That is what this is about. We're trying to control people. We're trying to control the population, things that they do. And Rex is very open about saying all of this out loud, proud, and she doesn't let anyone put her off her game when it comes to that. She's very staunch in her beliefs, and I back her because I know that she's lived this. This is the life that she's lived, having to tackle this stuff. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard watching her go through the ups and downs of what is going to happen, how is this going to play out. But we hope for the best and absolutely prepare for the worst, because we know what the justice system is like in this country. We know that the most innocent people get done while the perpetrators of the worst crimes get away with it. And so there's always this hope that Rex is going to overcome. But until we get through the court case, until the court case is over, nobody breathes a sigh of relief until it is actually over. And part of that is trying to get as many people as possible, in a respectful way, of course, into that courtroom to show the justice system and the judge that she is actually supported. And so for me, that's what I'm going to be doing over the next month and a half until the court case, or 2 months until the court case, is just putting out Rex's body of work. She does a lot of satire stuff too, but there's a lot of actual work that people aren't aware of that Rex has put out and been a part of, and Mana Wāhine Kōrero has been a part of. There's all of this stuff that Rex has been a part of that people don't know about. And I think that it's important that we don't just talk about what got her into trouble, but we talk about the work that she's done, the work that she's doing, the things that she's trying to get out there to people, and the things that she is fighting for, because it's not just about having a big mouth and letting loose with it and saying stuff that piss people off. It's actually about doing the work, putting in the submissions, and fighting governments on the stupid laws that they keep making.
So to be clear, what exactly did they charge Rex with?
So what they've done is that they've said that she has breached a takedown order. So there was a takedown order to remove all of those things online. And because she's missed 2 things, it was a breach of the takedown order, essentially.
So it was just an oversight, and they didn't give her a chance to go, oh, I forgot these 2 things, I'll take them down now. They just
Yeah. They haven't, like, she's tried to do all of that to say, can we take that? Can I take it down? I've missed it. It was only 2 things out of about 80, and they've still pursued it. If she's removed 80 things and there's only 2 things that remain, that to me automatically says it was an oversight.
yeah.
It wasn't intentional, because if it was intentional, why was it only 2 things? Why wasn't more left up there? Why have so many people from the police been involved in this? No? As a result of a space that I did a couple of weeks ago where a group of us were talking about this, people are waiting for Dan Johnston to start filing HDCAs again against all the people that have been talking. The unfortunate thing for Dan with that is those laws only apply in New Zealand. This has international attention now. Dan can't shut down the whole world from talking about him and the things that he has done. There was a big long article that I read on Kiwi Stream, and it's got screenshots and all sorts of things about Dan and the things that he's done, and he's angry that he was dead named when his father died, and like he's got severe mummy and daddy issues. He's got severe mental health issues that have stemmed from his childhood. And for him to grow up and try and take out his angst and his anger on women he doesn't like, why is Dan trying to be what he hates? Why is Dan trying to be a woman when he hates women so much? It's a sickness. It's a mental illness.
So what is the precise law that Rexy is alleged to have broken?
Well, it's the HDCA laws that we have. Harmful digital communications.
Yeah.
And so that's what they're stinging her under, is HDCA laws, is harmful digital communications. But I don't see what is harmful in her writing what she wants to write if he's choosing to read it. If you have to subscribe to read what Rex is writing, you are choosing harm. You are choosing to put yourself in harm's way. If you absolutely hate her, if you hate what she writes, you're choosing to harm yourself by continuing to read what she's written. And that's what he does, even to this day. It's the HDCA laws, and even from people that I've talked to about this, are very weak. They were there, they were put in place as a way to try and get police off being able to do actual work. And I know this because I went to the police station one day with telling them about a situation that was happening with me. And a person was posting online in real time. And I was showing the police these messages as they were coming through. I stood in the police station, I showed them, and the police told me there was nothing that they could do. They told me that there was nothing that they could do. They lied. When it comes to safety, police absolutely can go and get a court order themselves. They don't need me to do it. They can go and get a court order themselves if they believe there is a safety issue, and they can go and take care of the person that is doing this. I've been to police numerous times. I've asked them for help for a woman that claims to be a licensed gun owner. Police, to this day, a year later, still haven't stepped onto her doorstep and knocked on that door. So if a woman can claim that she is a licensed gun owner, she's posting my address online, she's doxing me, posting my phone number online, that tells me that HDCA laws are a whole lot of bullshit when the police won't do anything about real world harm. When someone is claiming to have a gun, when they're posting your address online, when they're posting your phone number online, we just saw what happened with Winston Peters from someone doxing him. And then someone attacked his house. HDCA laws are not strong enough, which is why I went for the stalking and harassment laws. That's why I asked for online provisions be made in the stalking and harassment laws, because I knew that HDCAs, police pick and choose when and how they apply those laws. They seem to apply them when it's for the trans activists. They don't seem to apply those laws when it's women who stand up for women and children. Why? In part because the police are just as corrupt. We've got a top cop who was arrested for bestiality and child exploitation. How do we have faith in a police system that your top police officer is looking at child exploitation porn? It's not child porn, it's child exploitation, it's child abuse. That's what he was looking at. How do we have faith in police officers who do that kind of stuff? It's a very messy world that we're living in right now. The justice system doesn't help. When police were at Albert Park and stood by and watched as women got assaulted, it doesn't help when we have these top cops who get into pedophilia. It doesn't help when we have an education system that wants to teach children about puberty blockers in a science class from the age of 5. At 5 years old, we have children who are being taught about puberty blockers. We've got teachers inside schools who struggle to teach children how to read, write, and do maths. But we have politicians and parents who think that these teachers are adequately trained to be able to teach children about medications. Drugs should never be a conversation that teachers have with children, with students inside a school. Those are conversations that parents should be having with doctors, with their children, and with doctors, medical professionals. There isn't a medical professional with any decency that would say a child should be on puberty blockers. It does not make sense. And so Rex talks about all of this stuff too. She gets people wrapped up. She says things in a very brisk, she's very abrupt, and she's very out there. She makes no apologies for who she is. But who she is based on the experiences that she's had. It's based on her life experiences as a trans widow, having to navigate through this very sick ideology where the man she was with now wants to be her. That's going to put anybody into a tailspin. And so it's not that she's this heinous, very ugly person like people want to portray online. She's actually quite a loving person. She is an amazing friend. I love catching up with Rex because I know that I can talk to her about anything, no matter what it is. And I hurt for her. I hurt for her because I know that this is a situation that should never have happened. And it would never have happened if people used some common sense. We seem to be lacking common sense a lot at the moment. And so if there are people out there in the Wellington region, if you can come to Wellington on the 16th of December, please do. If it ends up that there's a whole bunch of us, I'm pretty sure afterwards we can work out going to catch up and have a meal together and things like that. No? But be there, because this is a fight that New Zealand needs to be aware of. People can be part of that. People can be part of the change and part of bringing these things to the surface by turning up. Because I think that's how we get through to Middle New Zealand, is by actually having people come and listen for themselves. Then they can go back and say, well, I heard this. This is what's going on. And they can spread the word. But we need people to turn up first.
So what are the penalties? Is it a $50,000 fine, 3 months in jail?
So what she's looking at is $50,000 worth of fines and up to 6 months in jail.
Wow.
6 months for two things that didn't get removed accidentally in the middle of, family stuff. 6 months jail. We've got people who assault children, women who get less time than that, who get home detention. Why? Why are our laws so broken that someone can go to jail for 6 months or have to pay $50,000 worth of fines just because a man chose to read something he knew he wouldn't like?
And to be clear, she only put it on a Substack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been from her Substack. He does check out her Facebook page to see what she's writing about him there. He's still following it. As of last week, he was still following her Facebook page. But to actually read the articles that she writes, he would have to subscribe to them, which he's done.
So Rex has been prevented from speaking out for herself,
Yes.
and she's not able to defend herself publicly,
No.
assuming that
So,
other people can talk about her.
yes. So we can all talk about her. She
Yeah.
can't post or contact him. Not that she's never contacted him anyway, and she's got no inclination to go and contact him. But she can't be, and I understand that because it's a legal case and she's before the courts. And so we can all talk about her and him. She just can't do it yet, just to protect the case in the way that things are going. And so sometimes you want to be able to give people more, but sometimes it's better that you don't, purely so you can let the system and the process go through. And so that's what we're facing at the moment. No posting about Dan, no talking to him, contacting him, but letting the lawyers, her own lawyer and the free speech lawyers, take it to court, and hopefully we can get all of this thrown out. And hopefully women who have come across Dan and his actions actually turn around and say, well, you've done this. So if you can do this to us, we can turn around and do that to you. And I think that's what people should do, especially women. You have been harassed by Caitlin Spice, by Dan Johnston, put in a complaint to NetSafe and have him start to remove the things that he's saying about people, because the things that he has said is really quite gross from what I was reading on Kiwi Stream. The things that he was coming out with and talking about wanting to have a uterus implant and things, that's ridiculous. For a man to think that he can have a uterus implant is just insane. And in times gone by, people like him would have been locked up in places like Carrington and Kingseat. I am absolutely for bringing back mental institutions, because I think that there are people who walk these streets who shouldn't be. Yeah.
What else can people do to help Rex?
So Rex has Buy Me a Coffee, and I will send you that link so that you can put that link up. But she also, if I know there are a couple of people who didn't want to go through a platform or anything as well. So I have Rex's bank account number if people want to make a financial contribution that way, rather than dealing with all the platforms that have fees and things. And so we've got those two. There are also, what I've been told, is some t-shirts that are for sale. So the link for that is on Landy's page as well, for those that want to get t-shirts for the court case and things, and just the posts and things, because Rex is still around online. She's still reading, she can still read things, and she can still talk to people about other things that are going on, which she has been doing. So just leave a comment, because all of that stuff, it helps. It's a booster to your confidence, and to know that there are people actually on your side. And at the moment, with the amount of love that Rex is getting, she's overwhelmed by it. She is overwhelmed by the love. And she's had some amazing people come through offering up help in different ways. And so that's been very cool to watch as well. So we've got the financial side of things. If people want to donate, we've got the t-shirts, and we've got the court case coming up that people can come to. Leave your well wishes online. There's lots of ways that people can support. Go and subscribe to Rex's Substacks. Go watch her YouTube channel. All of those things all help.
That's great.
No worries. Happy to talk about it.
I think it's fantastic that you're standing up for Rex. I really do.
Yeah. Mana Wāhine Kōrero, especially over the last couple of years, because I met them as a result of Albert Park. So Landy got hold of me because of Albert Park, and I've been with them ever since. And these are amazing bunch of women. I know that when something goes on, I can ring them and I can let them know there's stuff going on. Like, we're in each other's lives enough that we care about each other because distance. But when any time something serious goes on, someone's there always. Like, I lost my mother last year, and a couple of Mana Wāhine Kōrero women came along. They came along, they supported me and things. And so we have a very close bond despite the distance. And I love catching up with them when we can. It's just really unfortunate that this is one of the hurdles that we have to go through. And to be honest, it was going to get to this point. It was going to get to the point that one of us was going to end up in the court system for saying these things, especially as Wāhine Māori. For Wāhine Māori to be so out there and vocal and talking about gender ideology, that's a major thing. We're pissing off a lot of people. We're not just pissing off the system, not just pissing off the courts. We're pissing off our own people. We're pissing off other Māori who have bought into the lies. And so we're in this phase of having to try and re-educate some of our own people about their culture, that this isn't your way of life. This isn't how your people lived 180 years ago. They didn't chop off body parts and say that that was normal or healthy. No. And so I love what Mana Wāhine Kōrero stands for. I love that they stand for women and children and culture. They want to share the culture. They don't want to force the culture, but they also want to protect it. They want to protect the language. They want to protect customs. They want to protect it all. And so it's been one hell of a ride the last 2.5 years watching these women, but I think it was always going to happen that one of us was going to end up in the court system. Unfortunately, it's Rex. I would gladly take Rex's place in the court system if it meant she didn't have to go through it. But that's not how things have played out. And so the best that I can do is turn up and support and try and get as many people in to support her as well. Because I think that she deserves it. I think that what has happened should never have happened. And I think that we're at a point where the system needs that Band-Aid ripped off so that people can see just how bad it is. Like we've seen Band-Aids ripped off over the last couple of years, like with Albert Park, and we thought things would start to turn, but it's been a very, very slow turn since Albert Park. And so this is just another one of those Band-Aids where hopefully we can rip it off and expose things for what they are and try and get some sense back into the world, because there doesn't seem to be a lot of it right now.
Beautifully put. Thank you so much for being on the Kiwi Rocket.
No worries. Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
You have a great day.
I will. Thank you, Joe.